Today on Rappler, Senator Trillanes slams Senate President Enrile as a Gloria Arroyo lackey.
Senator Trillanes has been quietly, secretly, clandestinely meeting with the Chinese about the Scarborough and the South China or the West Philippine Sea. My God, this guy is a fraud.
Senate President Enrile calls Trillanes a fraud, meddling in foreign affairs. And Mar Rojas and June Abaya breeze through the Commission on Appointments. Hello, I'm Ai Makaraig, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile and Senator Antonio Trillanes IV lash out against each other over China and the division of Camarines Sur. Trillanes announces he is bolting the Senate Majority Coalition after losing trust in Enrile's leadership. He accuses Enrile of being a lackey of former President Gloria Arroyo by pushing for the division of Camarines Sur. The split of the province will supposedly benefit Arroyo's son, incumbent Camarines Sur Representative Dato Arroyo.
Kasi po, ang kalakaran talaga dito ay kung gusto ko, isasagasa ko, kung ayaw ko, uupuan ko. That our Senate President is deeply indebted to GMA or that he is a GMA lackey. Either way, I have lost trust, faith, and confidence in Senator Enrile's capability to lead the Senate along the path consistent with the reform agenda that I espouse.
After the speech of Trillanes, Enrile takes the podium and starts to demolish the senator. Enrile says Trillanes' speech was a way to, quote, camouflage an issue that was about to blow up in the young senator's face. His, quote, meddling in foreign affairs. Enrile adds Trillanes was the laughingstock in a cabinet meeting where he proposed backdoor negotiations with China to settle Manila's territorial dispute with the superpower over the South China Sea.
Mr. President, in that case, I will refuse to yield the floor anymore.
Well,
for,
in that case, I will read it to the record, the notes that Mrs. Brady or Ambassador Brady wrote about your conversation with her in Beijing.
The senator walks out when Enrile begins to read the notes of Philippine Ambassador to China Sonia Brady about a meeting with Trillanes in Beijing. The Senate President goes on to read Brady's notes dated August 17th.
17 August 2012. He cannot take the hit. He's a coward. And I said I support the position of the Department of Foreign Affairs. We should involve our allies and friends in this discussion because we cannot handle the Chinese on a bilateral basis. But he was insisting on a one-on-one dealings with China. What bargaining position do we have? He's supposed to be a trained military mind, but he does not know anything about military strategy. Senator Trillanes has been quietly, secretly, clandestinely meeting with the Chinese about the Scarborough and the South China or the West Philippine Sea. Imagine talking to an enemy of a potential enemy of this country 16 times. What did he discuss with these people? Huh? He should answer. That's why he could not be here because I'm going to ask him. My God, this guy is a fraud. He said to Mrs. Brady, sa Pilipinas, walang may gusto na sa atin yung panatag, yung Scarborough Shoal. Yan ang sinasabi niya. Pilipino ba yan? Makabayan ba yan? My God, what kind of a senator is this?
Now here are the salient points of Ambassador Brady's notes as read by Senator Enrile. First, Trillanes told Brady not to take down notes of the meeting. Trillanes told her he had met with a senior official of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs the night before their meeting. Trillanes said Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario committed treason. He implied that President Aquino did not know about arrangements Trillanes made with the Chinese. Trillanes said no one cares about Panatag or Scarborough Shoal in the Philippines. Trillanes also told Chinese officials that the Philippines cannot enforce its coastal protection. The senator also insisted on bilateral talks with China when the cabinet wanted a multilateral approach. Now, in an interview with a local network, Trillanes says he doesn't want to elaborate because this is part of state secrets, adding his words were taken out of context. Trillanes also says President Aquino himself had given him the go signal to negotiate with the Chinese.
Sabi ko nga sa inyo, these are state secrets. Kung gusto niyo talaga, andiyan na, basahin niyo yung hingi kay Senator Enrile nung document para makita niyo talaga yung konteksto. Yes. And lahat ng mga nagdesisyonan, si Presidente nagdesisyon. Kaya nga, kung ano tayo ngayon, the improved situation right now, na wala ng tension, all the credit goes to the President.
Earlier, presidential spokesperson Edwin Lacerda confirms the president gave his blessing to Trillanes' overtures to the Chinese, saying Aquino wanted all the help he could get on the dispute. On another story, mining industry leaders blast a new provision of the mining policy and say they will go to court if the Aquino government implements it. At the 2012 mining conference, Philippine Chamber of Mines President Philip Romualdez says Section 9 of the implementing rules and regulations of the Mining Executive Order is illegal.
This provision is patently illegal. May I repeat, Mr. Vice President, this is illegal. We request, Mr. Vice President, that you convey to those responsible that the daan matuwid must be applied to all.
The provision shortens mining contracts to one 25-year term instead of the two 25-year terms guaranteed in the Mining Act of 1995. Romualdez says he and other leaders are ready to sue the president if he enforces the new rule. Mining leaders lament that with uncertainty over the rules, new investments will not come in. Vice President Jejo Marbinay, a speaker in the summit, was put on the spot by mining executives. He tentatively says he believes the implementing rules are up for review. Secretaries Mar Rojas and June Abaya breezed through the Commission on Appointments, allowing them to start working on their respective departments. Rojas replaces the late Jesse Robredo as Interior Secretary, while Abaya takes over as Transportation Secretary. Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago withdraws her objection to Rojas' appointment upon the appeal of Senate Majority Leader Tito Soto. She earlier threatened to veto Rojas' appointment after he snubbed her Senate probe on resigned Interior Undersecretary Rico Puno. Philippine boxer and Sarangani Representative Manny Pacquiao wins a $100,000 defamation suit he filed against Floyd Mayweather Jr. ABS-CBN reports Judge Larry Hicks ordered Mayweather to pay Pacquiao $113,000 or close to 5 million pesos in legal fees. Pacquiao sued Mayweather in 2009, claiming the American boxer accused him of using performance-enhancing drugs. A French magazine risks incurring the ire of Muslim protesters by printing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad in the middle of violent protests in more than 20 countries over an anti-Islam film. The editor of French satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo says the images would shock those who will want to be shocked. Political and religious leaders call on the magazine to avoid inflaming the situation. In the United States, President Barack Obama says his Republican rival Mitt Romney is writing off a big chunk of the country following his statement that 47% of Americans were victims and backed the president. Obama is referring to Romney's remarks made in a secretly recorded meeting with rich donors and leaked by liberal magazine Mother Jones.
47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. That it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what.
During the Late Show with David Letterman, Obama says, if you want to be president, you have to work for everyone. Romney says his remarks were not elegantly stated, but he does not apologize. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi declares her support for the easing of sanctions on Myanmar as she begins her 17-day visit to the United States. She says the people of Myanmar must start to take responsibility for their own destiny. This comes after her meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton at the State Department. Suu Kyi also credits Myanmar President Thein Sein for reforms he initiated, but added that a lot more needs to be done to undo the effects of 50 years of military rule. At number 6, the world's first mother-to-daughter uterus transplant in Sweden will allow 2 Swedish women in their 30s to give birth using the wombs they were conceived in. One of the women was born without a uterus, while the other had hers removed due to cervical cancer. 10 surgeons at Sweden University of Gothenburg carry out the procedures, which they will consider successful only when the women achieve pregnancy. A research team consisting of 20 scientists, doctors, and specialists has been working on the project since 1999. The 2 recipients say they were tired after the surgery but were recovering well. The donating mothers were up and walking and will be discharged within a few days. And at number 8, Rappler goes to UP Los Baños for its Move.ph chat series. Over 300 development communication practitioners, teachers, and students attend the event, focused on the theme Pushing Development Forward. Speaking at the event are UPLB Director of Public Relations Dr. Shirley Hamyas, Rappler CEO and Executive Editor Maria Ressa, Rappler Citizen Journalism Director Chai Hofilenia, and Rappler Social Media Head Josh Villanueva. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Now let's look at today's mood navigator. What is the mood of the day? Well, for the past days, it has been mostly happy with the stories on the Integrity Summit yesterday, a survey showing there is less corruption in the Philippines, and ABS-CBN reporter Sol Aragones plan to run for Congress. But today, we easily see that the 2 stories on the Senate word war between Senate President Enrile and Trillanes already made it to the mood navigator, with the mood angry for the fight over the talks with China and the mood annoyed on Trillanes hitting Enrile and leaving the coalition. So those are 2 stories that actually broke later in the day but immediately made it to the mood navigator, showing that Rappler readers feel very strongly about these stories. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Wednesday, September 19, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Ayi Makaraig, and as we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.